On your Friday episode of Locked On Raptors, I'm making one wish to make the 2025-26 season a grand success for every Toronto Raptor.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Friday, October the 3rd, and I am your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can find all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. And you can join us, of course, in the Locked On Raptors Discord server, link in the description of the podcast. 100% free to join a great community we got building around the show, where we talk about the team, the games, the transactions, and of course, other things like video games and food. I'm going to be heating up the video game chat with Hades 2 Talk very soon. I downloaded that game last night. Let's go. Either way, come join the Discord. It's lovely. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. And we will get started here on your Friday edition of the show, as we've got a fun one. I'm playing a stupid little game all by myself. We're making wishes, baby. It's the start of the season. It's time for optimism. It's a time for hope. And it's a time to, sort of put upon all of these guys on the Raptors team things that I wish would happen for them to have a successful upcoming year. Is that a good way to put it? I don't quite know. I'm making wishes, baby. I'm rubbing the magic lamp, if you will, or I'm going to the wishing well, if you will, to go and, just one thing for every player that if it happens, this will be a grand success of a season for not only the individual players, but the team at large. And before we play this game, I, of course, have to play a very stupid intro sting. Been gone a long time. Season starts this month. I'm excited. Do they have enough guys to be back in the playoffs this season? Wishing for big strides so the fan base doesn't panic. Who the hell has time to wait for growth that is organic? La-da-da-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da. La-da-da-da-da-da-da. I went to a wishing well to improve the raps on the floor. Wish I could got more blocks. Wish that Mobo could score. Wish Pirtle could be an all-star. Wish Scottie had working hands. Wish Barrett wasn't farts. They go to the promised land. That's it. Welcome to the wishing well here on Locked On Raptors. Really good song by a really good singer. Shout out Neighborhoods. The best Blink album, my favorite Blink album at least, and the 11 people who are old enough to care who listen to the show will appreciate that, I'm sure. All right, let's get to this stupid little exercise, shall we? We are going to make one wish for every Toronto Raptor. We're going to go rapid fire through everyone who is going to be a mainstay on the roster. I didn't go into the guys who may or may not be on the team because it feels like premature to wish good things for guys like AJ Lawson and Jared Rhoden, who we're not sure are going to be on the roster. Don't want to jinx anything for them. And so I wish for them that they make the team and that they can stay in the NBA. That would be a wonderful thing for them both. But let's go to the guys who we know will be on the basketball team, starting with Scottie Barnes. My wish for Scottie Barnes this season is that he trims the fat, cut out the pull-up threes, limit the back down turnaround jumper game to when it's really in a situation where he's trying to hammer a mismatch, where you know he can get that shot off clean. And, think a little bit more about going to the rim when he's in those back down situations too. Be a bully. You're strong. You're huge. If you have mismatches, go exploit them. Do the thing. For me, the best games of Scottie Barnes last year were when things were simplified for him. I think of the January 1st game against the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, that was the Nets, but it was also IQ's first game back healthy to begin his second half of the year. It was on the heels of that miserable loss in Boston. And in that game, you had Scottie going for like a super efficient 33, playing off of Quickley, scoring in transition, scoring as a slasher off the wing, getting early seals and finishes, and just kind of being a play finisher instead of having to be a creator all the damn time. I'd love to see that for Scottie a little bit more. Do your work early, man. You're an incredible transition player. Go make that happen out there with other guys who can feed you the ball. It doesn't all have to rest on your shoulders. I just think, Scottie, do the stuff that you know you're good at, right? Score at the rim. We know the defense is going to play. We know the transition's there. We know the secondary playmaking will be there, even if he's not creating all the time from the top of the arc. Trim the threes down. Get rid of the pull-up threes. Don't need no pull-up threes. Give me 2 or 3 in the rhythm catch and shoots. I'm perfectly fine with that. Replace the shot diet that you're losing from your threes with easy shots around the rim, push shots, stuff like that. Stuff we know Scottie Barnes is good at. And I think the context of the team is going to allow for this simplification for Scottie Barnes. I think he's in for probably a career year, and I can't wait to see it. Immanuel Quickley. I wish for him to rediscover his floater touch once and for all. We know it's in there. Going back to his Knicks days, we know the floater can be a shot that A, he gets to whenever he wants, and B, that he can hit. He's been extremely consistent over his career in terms of just how often he's getting to floater range, that short mid-range area to get off shots. Over the last 3 seasons, he has taken exactly 30% of his shots from floater range, exactly 30% on the dot. And over the course of his career, never lower than 26% frequency from short mid-range, never higher than 31%. You know, about 30% of his looks are coming from short mid-range. And if those shots are falling, man, it's a huge advantage to his game. It's a huge boon to his game. In 2022-23, he shot 51% in that year, 50% that year from floater range, 51% the following year in the first half of the year before the trade to the Raptors, when the floater just fell off a cliff after he got here. But we have at least a year and a half plus of Immanuel Quickley being a knockdown floater shooter. And if he can get there, if he can rediscover that touch, all of a sudden, his lack of true all the way to the rim pressure matters a little bit less because he can still score at a high rate from a really important spot on the floor. It opens up the pick and roll game. It makes things easier for whoever is rolling for him, whether it's Scottie Barnes, whether it's Jakob Poeltl. That threat of a floater is going to make that little dump off pass to whoever there is rolling towards the rim that much easier to get to because teams are going to have to sell out to stop the floater. I wish for the floater to come back. It'd be great if he took 10 threes a game. It'd be great if he could finish at the rim more effectively or get to the rim more. But to me, the floater is the key that unlocks Immanuel Quickley's game. I want to see that back for him. Brandon Ingram. Look, this one's easy. I wish for good health for Brandon Ingram. It's really important that he is on the floor. The team has brought him in, traded for him, and paid him to be what I think is going to be the number one guy in the offense. And this is not going to be your classic Luka Doncic heliocentric offense where it's just Brandon Ingram running 100 pick and rolls a game. No, that's not how they roll. They roll with this team, but Brandon Ingram is going to be the guy who can unlock a lot of stuff, who can be the initial advantage creator in this offense. And it all depends on him simply being on the floor. I think they are more sort of set up to withstand injury this year than they have been in years past, but there will be no replacing Brandon Ingram's shot creation, no replacing his mid-range shooting, no replacing, the three-point volume I think he's probably going to end up providing for this team as well, both off the pull and off the catch. He might be the second best pull-up three-point shooter on the team behind Immanuel Quickley. All of the stuff he does is just really important to have around, and yeah, his health obviously is the thing you wish for him. It's a cop-out answer, but it is the right answer in the case of Brandon Ingram. If he's healthy, I think all of the good stuff that comes with his game is just going to be there. And then quickly, Jakob Poeltl. I wish for him, this is more of a fun one because, look, we don't got to get too crazy with Jakob Poeltl. What Jakob Poeltl is perfectly fine. We know what Jakob Poeltl is. We can set our watches to Jakob Poeltl and everything he's going to do. He's going to set screens. He's going to protect the rim. He's going to make connective passes. He's going to knock down every single 6-foot push shot he takes. We all know this is part of Jakob Poeltl. You don't got to reinvent the wheel with him, but for funsies, I would like to see him break his career best mark of one made three-pointer in a season. Why not? He was 1 for 3 last year. I think he's made 3 threes in his entire career. We know he's got touch. The free throws are coming along, baby. Better than RJ Barrett from the line last year. Maybe, just maybe, there was a weird push shot 3 in Jakob Poeltl, akin to Amir Johnson's trebuchet 3 from way back in the days. It took forever to get up. The catapult, if you will. Took 3-4 seconds to unload. It wasn't a shot defenses cared about, but when it went in, it was pretty cool. Maybe there's a similar gimmicky 3 for Jakob Poeltl to hit 10 times this year. I wish for that for him because it would be super fun for me to watch personally. We'll come back on the other side as we continue our trip to the wishing well for the Toronto Raptors in the upcoming season. We'll get to RJ Barrett, Gradey Dick, Ochai Agbaji, and more as we continue. And I promise there will be no more singing from me on this episode. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have a full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That is where Monarch Money comes in. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch Money is built for those who don't like to do admin. I don't like doing financial admin. I hate it. It stinks. I don't like having to know all my passwords, all of my different accounts, all the different apps I need to have on my phone. Monarch Money lets you put all your accounts in one place right there. You can go in and just scroll through all of your accounts, see where your money's going, see exactly what the full picture of your financial situation is. It's a great thing. Go check it out. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser, or do that for half off your first year. That's 50% off for your first year at Monarch Money with code LOCKEDONNBA. Go check it out. Back at it here, your favorite Tom DeLonge impressionist here as we continue our trip to the wishing well for the Toronto Raptors in 2025-26. We only get one wish for each guy on the Toronto Raptors, and let's continue to run through those wishes that would make this season a beautiful success for everybody. RJ Barrett, look, this one's going to sound mean. I wish for him to develop eyes in the back of his head in order to be more aware of prospective back cuts. Yes, we talked about this yesterday on the show. Don't got to relitigate too much about RJ. We can spend time on other guys here on the show today. But the defense thing with RJ, I believe the offense is going to come along and not maybe be what it was in the back part of 2023-24, but at least like somewhere in between, and maybe like 60% between what last year was and what the back part of that season post-trade was. Can he get to 58, 59% true shooting? Can he get to, 37% from three on a reasonable volume? Can he get back to 66% from the rim as opposed to 61 last year? He was at 72 during that half of the season after the trade. Can he just split the difference between those 2 years? I think he can. Where it's going to come down to is the defense with him as far as his long-term outlook with the team. And he's just got to be better. He's got to be more attentive off the ball. And if he just had an extra pair of peepers in the back of his head, I feel like that'd be much easier for him, considering where he gets hurt most on defense is dude creeping baseline behind him and scoring when he is unaware. That is my wish for RJ Barrett. Eyes on the back of his head. Gradey Dick. I wish for his nickname by the end of this season to be Gradey Dunk. Yes, I want Gradey Dick dunking the ball all the time. This was a hobby horse of mine last season, and I continue to feel as though every flourishing layup attempt from Gradey Dick, if it were replaced by an attempted dunk, things will be better. Even if he misses some dunks. Look, you're going to miss some sometimes, but the threat of it being there, a big, loud yam, is a really important thing, and he proved last year he can do it. After I sort of started the season just like incredulous at the lack of dunks for the team, Gradey Dick put in a couple bangers as the season went along, had a couple of the team's best dunks, period, of the year. We know it's there. He's athletic. He's got ups. He's like a sneaky guy who I wouldn't mind seeing in a dunk contest because of the acrobatics he's able to pull off. And yeah, sometimes those acrobatics lend themselves to fun, dazzling, incredible, aerial finishes where he's off balance and he puts it up and in, has some good English on it. Just skip the middleman and dunk the damn thing. I want Gradey Dick to be among the team leaders in dunks. This is a team that needs more dunk cachet. I think Gradey can be one of those guys to do it. I think he's going to get easy opportunities. Gradey Dunk, let's have this be the year that becomes a thing. Ochai Agbaji. I wish for him to become like a true lockdown defender. I wish for what we're hearing coming out of training camp. Brandon Ingram spoke yesterday in his media scrum after practice or during practice, whatever, and talked about how Ochai Agbaji's been defending his ass off against Ingram all summer long. He's been setting the tone against Ingram in practice throughout the summer, and there are rave reviews of how much fun it's been to watch Ochai Agbaji guard the much bigger than him and much longer than him, Brandon Ingram. That's encouraging stuff. Look, Ochai Agbaji is a good defender. I would say he's like slightly above average. He's in the range of pretty good to, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Like, yeah, that's exactly the range. From pretty good to, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Not a whole lot of variance there in what he does defensively, but like if he could just like uptick it a little bit, just be a little bit more locked in, a little bit more event creation-y when it comes to poking steals or getting blocks. And to his credit, he's a pretty good shot blocker for a guy his size. I just think Ochai being a true defensive ringer on this team would give them something they don't really have right now, unless you think Collin Murray-Boyles is going to be that from day one. We'll see about what the stock pot can bring from day one. He's a rookie. You got to have tempered expectations. But I do think Ochai Agbaji, like if he can be that dude who just you throw him on the opposing team's best wing and he can offer enough resistance until the help comes at least, that is such a valuable thing, such a huge addition to what this team has skill set wise, and will really set him apart, I think, from the guys in that mix at the 2-guard spot, right? Jacoby Walters, maybe more of a guard defender. RJ Barrett, we've talked about the defense, not so much there. Gradey Dick, same deal. If Ochai can be a true like ace wing defender who can actually kind of walk the walk of being a true 3-and-D guy, it changes what his outlook with the franchise might be, or frankly, his longer-term look in the NBA or outlook in the NBA, and just gives the Raptors something they badly need from the wing spots because they don't have traditional wing defenders out there as it stands right now. Mamu. I wish for Mamu to be so important, so helpful, so transformative to the second unit of this team and the in-between lineups where he's playing with lots of big wings and stuff, with his quick fire shooting and rebounding and energy, that he has simply no choice at the end of the season but to turn it down his player option for next year and cash the hell in. Yes, it would stink to see Mamu, after a brilliant season, walk somewhere else after this year, and it will probably be somewhere else because, frankly, the Raptors have a lot of money tied up already. Maybe he's that good they keep him around, but, it's probably somewhere in between. I want him to be this decade's Bismack Biyombo, a one-year wonder who did his best work in his career with the Raptors before going on to make money and maybe not do a whole lot else in the NBA. That is what I would love for Mamu. Get the bag, dude. And hey, if he goes on to a long career after that, great. But I want him to have that one super memorable year with the Raptors where he is able to opt out and say, I'm going to make bank this summer. That would be awesome. I would love that for Mamu, as much as it would stink to lose him after 1 year, after presumably a very fun year in this scenario as well. Next up, Collin Murray-Boyles, a.k.a. the stock pot. I wish for the stock pot to get to play with a bunch of shooting around him this season. Gradey Dick, Jamison Battle, Immanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, Ochai Agbaji, Jacoby Walter, Mamu. These are the dudes I want Collin Murray-Boyles sharing the floor with. At least 3 of them most of the time he's on the floor. He's just someone who I think, his best abilities as like a playmaker and as a creator and all that stuff will get brought to light by having shooting on the floor. And it's also just going to be a way to justify having his defense out there, having a lot of shooting out there, good spacing, and his incredible defense to fill the gaps. I just think that's going to be the best way to optimize him, whether he's playing with a traditional big and Jakob Poeltl. If that's happening, you better have 3 of those guys I just listed on the floor with them to give that shooting and space. Same deal if he's playing with Scottie Barnes in the front court. I want Collin Murray-Boyles to get lots of playing time with shooting because I think that will be the best way to get the best out of Collin Murray-Boyles, even as a rookie where you don't expect to get the best out of anybody. And then Jamal Shead, to wrap up this batch of players, and we'll finish up on the other side. I wish for his left hand to become as strong as his right. 3-point accuracy was an option here, certainly for Jamal Shead. I think I could have thrown that out there. But for me, that's boring. I wish everyone could shoot better at threes, right? Like that would be great for everybody to add that to their game. But for me, give me something with Jamal Shead that can diversify the way he makes defenses think, right? If he can have a left hand that's right as good and as strong as his right hand, all of a sudden you have a guy who has this lightning quick first step, who is not just like the most easily scoutable player in the league. I know when I'm playing at pickup, everyone I play with knows I got no left hand. I am only right-handed, and that is it. That's all I can do with the ball in my hands. It's just, all right, he's going right. And that becomes very easy to scout for, especially when you're not working at pickup and you're got NBA scouts and coaches getting ready for you. If you can only go one way, it's going to end up being a cap on how effective you can be. I think Jamal Shead, with that speed he has, with the defensive instincts, with the playmaking, I think he's a really good passer. He can get to the rim whenever he wants because he's so fast, but it's just harder when everyone knows he's going the one way. Add that left hand, man. That is what I want for Jamal Shead this season. That quick first step, being able to go left and turn that into something that can just, again, diversify his game enough to just every little thing Jamal Shead can do better, even if he's never going to be like a lights out 3-point shooter, every little thing, because of all the intangible stuff he brings, because of the speed and the smarts he brings to the table, any little improvement here or there is going to make it easier for him to stick in the league long term. I think a left hand is as important as anything for him to be able to do that. We'll come back on the other side, rattle through a handful more guys off the bench. Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo, my guy. We will get into what I wish for those guys to close out the season or to close out the podcast coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets just to use across the app. What a beautiful thing. If you're a fan of a football team like the Detroit Lions or the Buffalo Bills, the two teams I'm still flip-flopping between, I'll see halfway through the season. I'll make a final decision there. I know you're all waiting with bated breath to know where my football allegiances will lie now that I've abandoned the Tennessee Titans. But if you think a team's going to win this weekend, put $5 down. If they win, you get $300 to play around with all sorts of things, whether it's futures bets for the NBA, the NHL, baseball playoffs. It's all there for you. Go check it out. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started to get those $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 winning bet. Go check it out. Wrapping up our trip to the wishing well here ahead of the 2025-26 Toronto Raptors season with a look at a handful of guys deep in the Raptors bench that I have wishes for. Before we do that, just a reminder, on October the 22nd, opening night, 19 days from now, I'm hosting a watch party at Last Supper Books in Hamilton, 148 James Street North. Going to be a ton of fun. Come hang out, have some drinks, watch some basketball, exchange some basketball books. That's going to be cool. It's a bookstore after all. And we will, of course, do some Q&A and stuff like that too. I'll be hanging around. It'll be great. We'd love to see you there. And it's going to be an absolute delight. So if you want to come, there's a RSVP form in the description of the podcast. If you want to come, we'd love to see you there. It's going to be a rollicking good time as we watch the Raptors vanquish Trae Young's horrible, no good, not as good as everyone thinks they're going to be Atlanta Hawks. They might be pretty good. It's very annoying. Anyway, more wishes to close things out here for the remaining members of the Raptors who we, again, know we're going to be on the team in one way, shape, or form, right? You know, the two-way guys we'll see, the AJ Lawsons and Jared Rodens, the unguaranteed guys we'll see, but we got Jacoby Walter up next. I wish for Walter to gain strength on the interior in particular. I love the way Jacoby Walter plays. I love the way he drives. I love the way he moves at his own pace. Doesn't get sped up, isn't scared, is happy to go and hang out amongst the trees on the interior. I love that 32% of his shots last season came at the rim. That's a really good number. 78th percentile at his position per clean the glass. That's a big deal. Rim pressure is a huge thing, huge need for this team, and Jacoby Walter has shown a capacity to at least get there. I don't love that he shot 48% of the rim last season. That is just not good enough, but I do think that's probably a function of being 20 years old and being kind of spindly and just not super strong. Couldn't absorb contact, wasn't finishing through contact super well. I think this year with some off-season workout training, all that stuff, just the strength that comes with being a little bit older, growing into your body more, I would love to see Jacoby Walter channel that into finishing at the rim more effectively because all the process is there. Dude just needs more beef. And once he gets it, I think he's going to be a really interesting, really additive, like fourth, fifth option type guy for the Raptors. Any good team, I think, is going to be in the market for a guy like Jacoby Walter. With the defense, I think he's going to play. He plays Darko defense, really good with his feet, can pick up guards full court. Really excited about him there. The offense, we'll see. I believe the three-point shot is good. I'm into the pull-up mid-range shooting, like 50% on mid-range pull-ups, not something to sneeze at from last season. But just get to the rim and finish through contact, be stronger. Man, oh man, I'm into it. Jacoby Walter does a lot of stuff I very much like. Next up, my guy, Jonathan Mobo. Look, much like Immanuel Quickley, I wish for him to find his floater. Frankly, as I mentioned in the song earlier, I wish he could just find a way to score, period. And frankly, towards the end of last season, he did start to figure out, I can in fact dunk the basketball, and it's a pretty easy way to get 2 points on the board efficiently. He was throwing down lobs. He was going up and rising through traffic a little more than he was at the start of the season. He's athletic enough to do it. Yes, he's usually smaller than the guys he's up against as a small 5, but he is super athletic. He's got the hops. I think there's no reason why he can't lead the team in dunks again. He did last year.
obviously the reason would be that he's not going to play probably all that much. He's not going to get as much playing time as last year. And so that's it. But like on a per minute basis, he's probably the dunks champ on this team. That said, dunks are great. What would be great if he could figure out a floater? Because what I love about Jonathan Mobo, his passing vision is really excellent for a guy of his position, of his player type. And he feels to me like a guy who could really be excellent as a short roll player, as a screener, catch the ball around the nail, pick out cutters, work from the free throw line and in, and just be this really great surveyor of the floor who can work 4-on-3 advantages. Would love to see that for him. It requires him having some ability to score from the free throw line and in, right? The floater, if he can, figure out some sort of mid-range jump shot, which I'm not super hopeful for considering the way his three-point jump shot looks like. I just think the floater has got to be the thing for him on top of being able to just kind of burn guys in close quarters. But as again, that short roll guy as a nail flasher against a zone, I think there's something there to weaponize with Jonathan Mobo with the passing and the vision he has. He just needs to be able to score points, and the floater might be a way to help him do that. Jamison Battle. This one's just a personal wish for me. And I guess it kind of ends up being with I wish Jamison Battle could find one other skill that can keep him on the floor and on the team for years to come. Because my wish is to watch Jamison Battle shoot threes and warm-ups before Toronto Raptors basketball games for a decade to come. One of my favorite things about being at games last year was just going before the game, usually get in a couple hours early, and usually Jamison Battle was among the first group working out, and I would just sit there and watch him shoot threes for hours before the game. It was so pretty, so buttery, so satisfying to watch. It was like watching those YouTube videos where they cut wax or hydraulic press Play-Doh or whatever the hell else, big dominoes arrangements on YouTube. Anything that is under the under the category of satisfying stuff to watch. That is what watching Jamison Battle shoot threes and warm-ups is. And again, so yeah, can he find one skill to keep him on the floor on top of shooting, whether it's defense, whether it's a driving game, whether it's a little bit of playmaking, whatever it is, give me that extra skill so Jamison Battle can stick around a long time and I can watch him drain triples before games for eternity. I would love to see that. Lastly, Garrett Temple. I wish for him to keep getting a check for the rest of time as a real win for the concept of you can go a long way in life just being a nice guy who people want to be around. I think that is a thing that should be championed more. Just be a nice guy. Be a good locker room dude. Be someone people want to be around, and it can take you far in life. Like being in the NBA, making an NBA salary until you're 40 years old, despite not having really played any games for the last 5 years. I love this for Garrett Temple. I wish it to continue forever. A 15th roster spot is meant for a vibes guy, a guy who can teach the players about buying suits, whatever it is Garrett Temple does. The team seems to appreciate it. They really seem to like having him around. He seems like a good force within the locker room. And I wish for this whole thing to keep. I wish 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Garrett Temple's still getting a check as the Udonis Haslem of the Raptors, except way less utility on the floor and way more involvement in the players union. I don't know. I'm into Garrett Temple just being here forever. Why not? 15th men never play anyway. And so, and when he does play, he had a couple moments last year where he got in and looked good, and it was awesome. It was just so thrilling. Everyone was so happy for him. And I like those little moments too. So yeah, I wish for Garrett Temple to keep on getting that bag in perpetuity. We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for rocking with the show. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. Sorry for making you listen to my dumb singing. At some point, I will drop an album of all the dumb parody songs I've done on the show because it's starting to rack up a little bit. Going back to my Pat Benatar Heartbreaker remix back from 2022 when I was on vacation in the summer. We talked about Raptors heartbreaks through history. Either way, working on that album. I know there are other albums and stuff out today. This, obviously, new music is the most important new music that dropped today. I appreciate you indulging me. And we'll be back again on Monday. And then Monday night, we got a preseason game, baby. We got basketball, Raptors, Nuggets in Vancouver. We'll be talking about that on Tuesday's show next week, of course. And yeah, we're daily, man. The season is nigh, and we will be here with you the entire way through. Thank you so much for rocking with us, as always. And we'll talk to you again on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye. Damn.